Welcome to the combined agenda and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council on this Wednesday, September 4th, 2024. The meeting is called to order. Would everyone please rise to honor our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman Charles DePiero. Here. Councilman Michael Markell. Here. Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel. Here. Council Vice President Terrence Van Zora.
Here.
Council President Miriam Cohen.
Here. Would you please read the Sunshine Law into the record?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1. Posted on the bulletin board within the municipal building on December 29, 2023, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2. Printed in the Home News Tribune and the Cranberry Press on December 29, 2023. 3. Posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4. Sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the Council President.
Thank you. Item 5 on our agenda, presentations and proclamations. Mr. Mayor, you are doing the honor of presenting the Township of Monroe Senior Center Month, September 2024.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So our first time ever that we are officially recognizing you. Now, we always shall remember our first time, correct? Way too long. Well, some of you got it. So it's okay. It's after 6:30. We can go a little. Having you all here truly is, to me, a culmination, but it's ongoing. Okay, this is just not get together and give you a plaque and get a picture and pat you on the back and say, hey, nice job. And it's a shame that this is taking this long to get you all together like that. So, you can always say, they like us, they know what we do. But having you come together at a council meeting to be awarded this proclamation, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. And we do notice how important you all are to the township and the citizens and the service that you provide. We always talk about crown jewels and buildings and the brick and the mortar, and golly, it's the senior center is truly one of the best looking buildings, though this Pizza Hut building is maybe not good to compare it with, but truly, we always talk about the buildings, but we all know, and I know all of the council members up here as well, we always talk about the people working and providing that service. And we have noticed, and it's again, the culmination might be this, but it's that notice that we see day to day when we do go to events. And I've attended my share of events at the senior center. And from afar, I just love seeing that interaction. Going back to when it was COVID times and the phone calls that you were receiving, the phone calls that you all made. And if, even if it was just to listen to somebody during that time, the wealth that provided, the wellness, the service that provided, all of the programming, all of the trips, dancing, during a concert, dancing off to the side, grabbing somebody and bringing them up and just dancing with them. It's noticed, my friends. And when you see that, I long for that. This is how I would want to be treated. And to see you act in such a way with the citizens of Monroe, it's moving, and we see it. And tonight is that small culmination just to say thank you so very, very much for what you do. We are so proud of you and proud that we have such wonderful workers in our town. With that being said, there is a proclamation here with a lot of words. I'll read the first and the second paragraph. It's a proclamation, Township of Monroe Senior Center Month, September 2024. Whereas the National Senior Center Month originated as National Senior Center Week in May of 1979 and was proclaimed by President Ronald Reagan in 1985 and was extended to a full month in September of 2007, so on and so on. But let's go to the last. Whereas the Monroe Township Senior Center provides service to over 8,700 Monroe senior residents and provides countless programming and support that enables our residents to continue their involvement with the contribution to the larger community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Stephen DeLina, the proud mayor of Monroe Township, do hereby proclaim the month of September as Senior Center Month and further extend appreciation to our director, Nancy Harrigan, and her entire staff for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community they represent, dated September 1st, signed Stephen DeLina. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. You want to have them speak and then we'll present that? What's that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm learning how to use a new microphone. This is not a skill I obtain easily. And then they changed microphones on me, and I could still be staring at it. So I'm watching the red light go on and off. It has been my pleasure and privilege to spend many hours of time at the Senior Center, sometimes as a participant in an activity when you were having tap dancing there. And I understand that might be back. And sometimes when I have students there who are taking blood pressures and counseling our attendees, and sometimes when I'm just at a program. And there is a uniform atmosphere of warmth, friendship, and caring. And you wouldn't know that over 8,000 people use the facility because no one acts like they're harried and they're racing and they can't get these things done. It's a tribute to your leadership, and it is a tribute to each of you who work there, that you place the needs of the people who live in our community in the forefront. And we are very grateful. I am assuming, do I have colleagues who wish to say something? Yes, I'm watching Rupa nod her head at me right away. Yes.
Thank you, Council President. So congratulations to all of you. The Senior Center is such a wonderful place. Before I came onto the council, or maybe right when I did, Councilwoman Schneider was probably your biggest advocate. Every time she saw me, let me take you to the Senior Center with me. Let me show you around. And I did. I took a tour with her. And she pointed out all different things, and here's the programs, and here's this, and here's that. So that's the first time I really had an opportunity to come into the building and learn about all the programs and services that you offer day in, day out, and how you connect and help our senior 55 and overs all connect with each other. And I saw that too when I went to my first Thanksgiving event at the Senior Center. And as you walk around the tables, you hear the stories and you learn about the people, but you also learn how they took classes together at the Senior Center and how they built their relationships. And their table today, or that day, was friends that they met at the Senior Center. So I thank you all for everything you do day in and day out, taking care of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, you guys are special. You're like the first guys I know that have gotten a presentation when you're not retiring or anything. So you actually get to hang out and enjoy it and bask in the glory a little bit. And It is well deserved. I don't get there as much as I would like. I'm usually running around with work and stuff, but every time I go there, it's the same thing. You always get treated with respect. I hear nothing but great things from our citizens. That'll sometimes when we're out campaigning, whatever it might be, they come up to you and they'll mention it. And as we always refer to it, when we talk to other towns, it's one of the real crown jewels of our county, and we're very proud of it. We're proud. And as I used to, even when I was campaigning and I was talking, I said, it's not just the building itself, it's the people that work there. So thank you for all that you do, and many, many more years before you have to come back again. Thank you.
Works. I'm honored to be on the Commission for Aging, so I meet with the staff every once in a while. When I get old enough to use the senior center, I'll. Why is everybody laughing? I don't understand that. But hopefully you guys will get a little busy this year, because in the past I know you're slacking off. But no, all kidding aside. When people ask me where do I live, I say Monroe. They say, well, should I move there? And I said, they're all old people. So I said, because they're my friends. I said, yeah, we have the best senior center in New Jersey, maybe in the United States, really. You're getting all this praise. You don't need it because you are the best. And I want to thank you for all the hard work you guys do. You deserve this, and deserve more. Where's to show me the money? I got it. Right? Thank you guys. Thank you guys very much.
Councilman DePiero, please.
I just want to say thank you for everything you guys do, and an example of teamwork is sitting right in front of us. And every time I've ever went in the building, it's nothing but compliments that we've always received from our residents. And absolutely, you guys do an exceptional job, from transportation to all the programs, your tax preparations, and everything you do for our community. It's like you're the Yankees of Monroe Township. And I know there's a few Ranger fans that are out there, so I definitely want to say the Rangers as well. But I just want to say teamwork is definitely right in front of us. And from the director all the way down to every single person that works there, janitors, every custodians, everybody does a phenomenal job. And we've heard nothing but compliments. And we can only do our job because you guys do an exceptional job at what you guys do. And we're here to support you. And thank you very much.
Folks, you have some pictures taking. Anyone wants to take a picture? We can take a 5-minute recess if you need to do that. Yes, Mr. Weinberg? Yes? Kyle, you getting a picture for us? Okay, good. Motion for a recess, sorry. It's the new microphone. Oh, look at that. This is Balance Awareness Week, September 15th through the 21st. Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is all of September, and Sepsis Awareness Month is also in September. So if you notice, there are a number of signs around childhood cancer awareness in front and on the side of the building. We can move to item 6, which are the ordinances for second reading. Will the clerk please read?
Ordinance 08, 2024, 015. Ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees. Ordinance 08, 2024, 016. Ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Monroe, Section 108-5.27, entitled Stormwater Management. Ordinance 08, 2024, 017. Ordinance of the Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, and State of New Jersey, establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Applegarth Road, County Road 619, Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. Ordinance 08, 2024, 018. Ordinance amending Chapter 35 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Drug-Free Zones. Ordinance 08, 2024, 019. Bond ordinance providing for facility improvements on township open space property in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,925,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,397,600 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Ordinance 08, 2024, 020. Bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water sewer utility in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,995,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,995,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Ordinance 08, 2024, 021. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,224,400, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,523,300 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Ordinance 08, 2024, 022. An ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a right-of-way dedication over property at 45 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lot 41.29, a 10-foot wide street tree easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lots 41.34, 41.35, 41.36, and a conservation easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lots 41.34, 41.35, 41.36 on the Township of Monroe tax map. Ordinance 08, 2024, 023. An ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a 10-foot wide tree easement at 38 Avenue I and 40 Avenue I, known as Block 123, lots 11.01 and 14.01 on the Township of Monroe tax map.
Thank you. Will the council please note we have resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda at the September 4th meeting, R9-2024-196 through R9-2024-216. Are there any resolutions requested that we remove them from the consent agenda? Yes, please.
Thank you, Council President. The ones that I need requesting are R9 2024-211, R9 2024-212, R9 2024-214.
214.
214, yes, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Item 9, we move to the public comment section. Please note that it is limited to agenda items only, 5 minutes per speaker. May I have a motion to open public comments?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward. Your name and address for our records, please.
Good evening, council members. Gary Busman, 7 Monarch Road. R2024206. Maintenance bond at Stonebridge. Can you indicate how much that release is for?
Sure.
And also if there are any more still outstanding?
Mr. Weinberg?
I believe it's for $2,900, the bond, but I will defer to Mark, who would probably be able to answer the other question.
Mr. Azarales?
Thank you. The maintenance bond amount was $2,991 that's being released.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more question, please. 2024210. This is all regarding wording. I read the words. I'm not sure what the words actually mean. I'm familiar with what used to be in this state with user fees placed upon builders that were very beneficial to all the municipalities throughout the state. I believe it is a major important item for all the municipalities in the state to continue. The builders have too large of a lobby within the state. They control all of the building permits, all of the functioning that goes on within the state, and therefore the municipalities end up on the short end of things. There used to be days when builders would build schools, they would build parks, they would build roads. That doesn't exist anymore under changes within the law. So what I'm getting at is, even I approve of all of this. I wish it would really go forward, but how do we, what is it exactly that you, Mr. Mayor, are going to put forward, and do you have the support of various other municipalities?
Please, sir.
Madam Council President, in regards to that particular resolution, obviously, we did attempt something very similar to this a couple of years ago to the League of Municipalities. It went to the league at the time and just kind of rustled around a wee bit with no traction. I have spoken to some other mayors, some other county officials as well throughout the state. And, again, the rumblings are there to let's try it again. So this is us giving us another shot. Right now, it's piecemeal, a couple here, a couple there. But for us, Confucius had said that the longest journey starts with a single step. So this is a step that I want to take. In regards to that, obviously in support of the Board of Education as well, has put out a resolution. So if we can get some traction going, whether through the league, through our state representatives, this is the time. It's time.
How do we find out when something like this will be heard in either the Assembly or the Senate? I'd be very interested to know. I'd like to attend one of those meetings if they're
Madam Council
available and
President, if
open
I can
to the
answer, you'll hear about it when we hear about it when it goes to
That's
if there is a bill.
Thank you. One more item. Yes. May I?
If you're not out of time, sure.
Okay. 08202420. Am I? Yeah, I'm correct. That's one of your ordinances. There, at the last 5 words in that posting say part of the cost thereof. Well, if it's 4.995 and we're asking for 4.995, does that mean that's in its entirety, or there are more costs than there, since it reads part of the cost thereof, which indicates there's more? Can I get an answer to that question?
No, if you look at it, you'll see that it authorizes $3.5 million in bonds to authorize the cost.
Not what I'm reading. 4.995 and 4.995.
I have the wrong one. Which?
020,
020.
right here. $4,000.
It's all words. What do the words actually mean? Part of. Part of means that's not the whole bond. and it's not the entire cost.
Well, those are utility bonds, so Alan, I don't think
Yeah, they are.
there's no down payment there. So.
Right, it is a self-liquidating authority.
Right.
So I think that may be the standard bond language that's in most resolutions.
But it's
And in this
incorrect.
case- But
I don't care if it's, excuse me for interrupting, but the words seem to, at least to me, part thereof means it's not entire. So something ought to be done to change that. Even if it's standard procedure, we ought to be above standard procedure and do it so that people understand what it actually means.
I mean, I want to answer the question. I'm not bond counsel.
Not bond counsel.
That's who writes these resolutions, the people who specifically do bond ordinances. I'm certainly happy to check with him. I know it's on
Please.
second reading, so it's a little more complicated than if it was on first reading. But this is how bond counsel prepared it, who's generally the expert in this area. And if there's something insufficient about it, we would run it again, but I'll certainly check with him.
Yeah, well, if you think
the
that
fact.
I'm wrong with the understanding, I'm happy that I brought that to everyone's attention. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address us, please come forward. Remember to please state your name and address for our records, Dr. Burrow.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Council President, and all. I have R92024210. Thank you, Mayor, again raising this question on impact fees on the builders towards the schools. We have done that 10 years back, several years back. Again, we are here to go to Trenton when necessary. We are here to support this whenever is required. So wherever we have to go and speak or lobby, we are here, okay? That is the request from the public. I have several questions, President. I will speak about that, then I will stop to hear from you all the answer. Resolution R92024201 calls for $48,000 contract with AT&T for wireless telecommunication equipment. The question is, this is a payment per year. This will cover all the township municipal buildings, municipality, library, fire district, schools, so forth. Second one, R92024202, painting water tank on Applegarth Road. The first bid was around 1.928 million. That bid was withdrawn, and the next bid is 2.935 million is approved. The difference is 1 million. How many bids came? And this rate is common in the market in New Jersey. Then again, I see R92020205, R3M Engineering again is providing service for the same tank for painting and other work, again $244,000. So the total cost of painting this tank and maintenance, whatever it is going to about 3.2 million. So the question is, this is the rate going on in the market? Because I went and Google, I saw about 10 years back, the cost was 1.3 million for similar. I don't know, I cannot compare what the tank size is. Now it is going to be 3.2 million and odd. And are we getting any aid from the county or state, or it is all our money? Thank you.
Welcome.
Sure.
Mr. Weinberg, would you want Mr. Stroin to?
Yeah, I'm going to have, if everybody can hear me, I can have Mr. Stroin answer
Please.
202 and 205. I'll just answer briefly on 201 before Mr. Stroin comes up. That is, and this is run through the utility department, so Joe may want to comment on it as well. That is a monopole on the other side of the turnpike.
Okay.
So it's one single pole. It's not a giant antenna. It's on a Beale Road, which sort of sits behind the hotel that sits on Forsgate Drive. So it's back right on the edge of the turnpike. And so that would get and the money goes to the utility department because it's their property. And that would be the $48,000 a year with a 3% increase every year for 5 years and then 3 5-year renewals. So that's what that would be for, and the benefit would go to the ratepayers and the utility itself. In terms of 202, I'll let Joe talk a little bit about the bidding process, the 5 bidders for that, and what's entailed in the project for this large tank that sits at Applegarth Road and Joan Warren Way.
Good, it's on. Excellent question, Dr. Parab. We received 5 bids for this tank. It's one of the largest tanks in the state. There's only 2 tanks in the entire state that are 3.2 million gallons. It's a 3.2 million gallon hydro pillar. The first bidder that was the low bidder at 1.9 million withdrew his bid because he did not understand the specification correctly and could not complete the job as it was specified. The engineer's estimate for the painting of the tank, both inside and outside, as well as doing improvements in the tank. This is the original construction made by Chicago Bridge and Iron back in 2005. So the usual period of time before you have to paint the tank is usually about 15 years. So we've exceeded that, and the tank is in good condition, but we want to maintain that asset. The engineer's estimate was $3.2 million. So we're actually under the engineer's estimate, including the construction administration, which is $248,000. Now, you know, or might not know, the going rate for construction administration is usually between 10 and 15% of the actual project cost. So this is actually, for construction administration, 8%. So we're in underneath that industry standard as well. So we're very satisfied with this bid. This particular contractor that is the apparent successful bidder also did a similar tank, the large tank down in South Jersey, and did an excellent job. So we're confident that with this being a critical asset for fire protection and for our citizens as it relates to drought and buffering during high irrigation periods, that the project will go well.
Thank you for the clarity.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? Please. Please, your name and address for our records.
Chrissy Skirby, 21 Preakness Drive. I just want to make a comment too on the resolution this evening that's going to the Board of or League of Municipalities for impact fees. While it's great to try to get support from other municipalities, what we really need to be doing is pushing our legislators to write a bill for this. Until that happens, as Dr. Parab said, we have many community members that will go down to Trenton. I myself testified at the budget hearings this year in Trenton and asked them to consider more appropriation so that we could bring full-day kindergarten to our town. We really need to address our legislators who represent us. And while I think this is a great step, I think you should also consider a resolution directly to Senator Greenstein and the other legislators that represent us in Monroe. You know, the Board of Education did recently do a resolution. Them too, they did it to New Jersey school boards. Those are other organizations that cannot write laws. We need to be going after our legislators that can actually write a law, and then forming groups within our town of residents to go and testify for these to be passed. The one other thing on here, 08-2024 019, that's the bond ordinance for James Monroe Park facility. I had some questions. I want to thank Mr. Weinberg for taking the time to give me a call and answer some of my questions. I just want to make sure that we're clear. This is for it's going to be a practice facility at the James Monroe Park location, but it's not going to be just for baseball. It's going to be for other sports as well. And it will be a cost that the township is incurring, whereby there were rumors that Monroe Township Baseball Association would have to pay back the township for the bond, but Mr. Weinberg explained to me that's not true, that will be something that is for free use to the township through the rec center. If that's correct?
I'm happy to answer that.
Please.
Yes, that is correct. Just to clarify one thing even further, while the facility, like all the facilities around the town, whether it be at, with the Wolverines or the soccer complex, while it'll be located at James Monroe Park, baseball will have sort of first use of it because it'll be inside their complex. But every moment that it's not being used by baseball, it's our hope to use it by softball and a variety of other sports as well. So it'll be constantly used by the Monroe Rec Department and run by them, as all our facilities generally are.
That's great. And I know when we were talking, I had mentioned even possibly if the rec department could reach out maybe to the school district and have their sports teams use that, because I know right now our parents at the high school pay for winter workouts outside of Monroe Township for softball and for baseball. So that's something that would be great if we could partner with them as well. And then just a question, I know we talked about trees too. Do we know approximately how many trees we're going to be cutting down at that location?
Council President, I could defer to Mark. I don't think we have that number at this point, but it's a much smaller area than the original amount of trees that were removed for the entire park itself.
Okay.
For the baseball field.
And the parking lot will be expanded as well to accommodate.
We're looking to see what we need to do to make sure it all works together collectively. Yes, that's part of the design process.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Yes, sir. And please, your name and address for our records, and there's a 5-minute time limit.
Sure. This is my first time for speaking in
figured
front.
that
So Oliver Mangione, 4 Butternut Lane. I am a parent of children in Monroe. I am also a coach at the baseball fields, and I am also the treasurer with the Monroe Township Baseball Association. I'm here to say thank you for all the work that's been done to put this bond ordinance to a second reading. Not sure procedurally about all that, but we appreciate that as an organization. I appreciate the questions as well. As a parent that's paid for winter workouts year over year, it's definitely a savings for our players. It's also an additional benefit in that they will be able to practice more, become better athletes, better people, hopefully, by learning sport. And it's really something that's going to benefit the overall organization. My children really enjoy going to the baseball field. My daughter's at practice right now, but she just watches. She enjoys playing at the facility. So it's really a great benefit to the overall township. I also appreciate the consideration for other sports. As a member of the board, I appreciate we get first use, but also appreciate that my daughters might be able to use that for other activities, either softball or cheerleading. So I know this is a big facility for baseball. It's been a while since we've added something there. So thank you for everything you guys have done there, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your comments. Anyone else wishing to address us? Sir. Your name and address for our records, please.
Frank Giuliano, 23 New Street. Moved here in 2007 with my wife, and we've been raising our 3 children, 3 boys, 14, 11, and 7. And I've been very involved with the different rec programs here in Monroe, and currently serve on the board for the Monroe Baseball Association, and really come to just thank you. You guys have done a phenomenal job supporting the rec programs. When I first moved to Monroe, it was, you're going there to retire. It was a lot about the senior citizens and all the great stuff you guys do. But you guys also have done a phenomenal job supporting the rec and all the kid programs that we have. I would just like to add comment and add on. This Monroe Park practice facility is something that has been desperately needed. With the 10 years I've been part of the program, this is a lot of out-of-cost expense to our citizens, because this is something that, the town has not been able to offer. And this is something that will definitely be used and needed. And I thank all of you for considering this. This was something that was, since I got involved in the Baseball Association, something that we've wanted for a long time and felt like the town needed. And finally, somebody stepped up and got the ball rolling. And I'd just like to say thank you for that.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public comment section, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting, please?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Yes. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned at,
The time is 7:13.
thank you. Going to call the regular meeting to order. Please, may I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Yes. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the payment of claims per the run date of August 28th, 2024? Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel. Yes. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. May I have
Motion
a
carries.
motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings as written and presented August 5th, 2024. Agenda and combined regular meeting. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Yes. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 4 is the ordinance for second reading, 08-2024-015. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees. I'd like a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to address the council regarding this ordinance, please come up now. Seeing and hearing none, I'd like a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that, please. Second. Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
May I have second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel. Yes. Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam
Motion,
President.
yes, please.
If I could be heard with respect to the second reading for ordinance O-8-2024-016, I would make a motion at this time to table this to our next meeting of October 7th, 2024. The reason being this pertains to an item that also needs planning board approval, and we did not have our planning board meeting in August. We do expect to have our September meeting of the planning board. After that, we would be in a position for the October 7th meeting to vote on this.
May I have a second on that motion to table, please?
Second.
Thank you. Need to take a vote on it? Roll call.
I need a motion to take.
Motion to table.
Yeah, you
Yes,
need a-
motion
you
to
need a vote.
table this. We need to vote. We have a motion and a second to table it.
Table to a
Will the
date.
clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. so-
Motion carries.
Thank you. So 08-2024-016 is tabled till the planning board meets and sees this. 08-2024-017 is an ordinance of the Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, and State of New Jersey establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Applegarth Road, County Route 619, Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. I'd like a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that, please?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Anyone wishing to address the council about this, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I am going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? May I have a motion to adopt 08-2024-017, please?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Second.
Second.
Good. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 08-2024-018, ordinance amending Chapter 35 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Drug-Free Zones. We are updating a code to include the last map revision. May I have a motion to open a public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. Anyone from the public wishing to address us regarding this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. I'd like a motion to adopt 08-2024-018, please.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Two voices at the same time. Do we have a roll call, please?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
So we have moved to 08-2024-019 is a bond ordinance providing for facility improvement on township open space property in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,925,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,397,600 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the costs thereof. I'd like a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second on that, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. Anyone wishing to address the council about this, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. May I have a motion to adopt 08-2024-019?
Motion.
Again, the chorus. May I have a second on that, please?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Motion adopted.
Yes, motion carries.
Motion carries. 08-2024-020 is a bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water sewer utility in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,995,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,995,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the costs thereof. May I have a motion to open a public hearing, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? None. Anyone wishing to address the council on this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, a motion to close, please.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Right there.
We need a motion to adopt.
Yes.
Motion
I'm
to
sorry,
adopt.
Motion to adopt, please.
So moved.
Motion.
Again, we're getting on both sides. This a second on that.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
I asked the public
Yes.
and they didn't come up. Yes.
Yes.
No.
Sir, you can't, you're in the middle of the meeting, you can't just start to talk. Thanks.
You can wait until we get to the public comment
the end, you
section
can
at the
comment
end of
on
the
it.
meeting.
Thank you.
And then you'll be part of the record, which is at the end of the meeting. That'll be fine, and it'll be in the record. You're welcome.
Ordinance 08-2024-021, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, appropriating $4,224,400, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,523,300 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
And I have a motion to open a public hearing, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on
Second.
that? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. Anyone wishing to address us regarding this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, a motion to close public hearing, please.
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt 08-2024-021?
021.
So
Motion.
moved. Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ordinance 08-2024-022, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a right-of-way dedication over property at 45 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, Lot 41.29. A 10-foot wide street tree easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, lots 41.34, 41.35, 41.36, and a conservation easement at 43, 45, and 47 Lower Machaponix Road, known as Block 68, lots 41.34, 41.35, 41.36 on the Township of Monroe tax map.
May I have a motion to open a public hearing?
Motion.
May I have a second on that, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? Anyone from the public wishing to address us regarding this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? May I have a motion to adopt 08-2024-022, please?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Please do 023.
Yes. Ordinance 08-2024-023, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Monroe to acquire a 10-foot wide tree easement 38 Avenue I and 40 Avenue I, known as Block 123, lots 11.01 and 14.01 on the Township of Monroe tax map.
Thank you. May I have a motion to open a public hearing, please?
So moved.
Second on that motion, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Anyone from the public wishing to address us on this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposition. May I have a motion to adopt 08-2024-023, please?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second on that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We're moving to the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda. They are R9-2024-196 through R9-2024-216, accenting what?
With the exceptions of R9 2024, 211, 212, and 214, which will be considered separately.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you. A roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We move to item 7, which is resolutions removed from the consent agenda. May I have a motion to
This is for Resolution R9, 2024, 211, 212, and 214.
Everyone clear on which ones? Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you again. A roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, all of you. We will now move to our reports, beginning with our business administrator, please.
Sure. Thank you, Council President. Just a few brief comments on some of the agenda items. One, certainly pleased to see the Inwood Estates paving moving forward with almost 50% grants for that item, which is on the end of the resolution list. That includes $248,000 in a state grant for local aid, $167,000 federal grant for HCD. So the grants are totaling close to $415,000. Also 9 bids for that project, which is really good, and we were under the engineer's estimate. So thanks to Mr. Razumowitz as well. A couple other items that were particularly important on tonight's agenda, mentioned earlier, and I commented on, and I thank Joe, the upgrade and rehabilitation of the Applegarth water tank on Joan Warren Way, very important project. The replacement in one of our bonds there of a 1993 utility vac truck that has served for 31 years. So we certainly got some good use out of that, and Joe is looking forward to a new one. We're setting in place the funding for another state grant for Links Drive paving. We received a $551,000 state grant as part of that project, which will cover well over 50%. So we have that in place. And we also approved tonight a new ambulance, continuing to try and keep our fleet in place. It actually takes quite a while to get an ambulance from when you order now. It's close to 2 years with supply chain issues. So this is actually one that'll probably come about 2 years from now to replace an ambulance that's still working but is 15 years old already. So we're continuing to try and keep our fleet updated. So just wanted to comment on some of those. And then lastly, just as a reminder for the public, the library will be closed on Friday, September 6th for paving. So there'll be a lot of activity in the parking lot, and for safety reasons, we'll just close for that one day. And then the improvements will be completed. So just wanted to remind the public of that. Thank you very much, Council President.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Mr. Razumowitz.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be brief. We're currently doing our 2024 various street road pavings throughout the town. We're wrapping that up. As Alan had mentioned, we'll be at the library doing our parking lot on Friday. And there's 3 or 4 other streets that still remain. And Alan also mentioned Inwood Estates. That project was awarded tonight, so we're going to be looking to get that started as soon as possible. So I anticipate October we'll be out there starting work then. And that's my report.
Very good. Thank you. Council reports. I'll begin with Councilman DePiero. Am I right? Sir, please.
Oh, thank you very much. After listening to our public about the impact fees, and also with our mayor sending a letter, which we did, I believe he did last year also, and the support from our Board of Education as well. Last meeting, I requested that we reach out to our senator and assembly and ask them, invite them here. So I don't know if we need a formal resolution or a request to be on the agenda for next month, to send a notice to them and ask them to come and be in an open forum for our residents, because I was reading about Perth Amboy. They just received a brand new high school, about 590 square feet, and it's really disheartening to hear other communities receiving a $290 million payment from the state of New Jersey. That we pay those taxes. Everybody in this room pays those taxes to the state. But we received $12 million. So they received $290 million for a high school that Board of Education and the residents of that community paid $3 million. So when you do the math and you add it all up, it just doesn't make any sense. So I would ask our council Lou and also my council president to please put it on on the agenda for next month to let's send the letters out and request them to come here and meet our residents and explain to us what they can do for us, because I did attend the Board of Education meeting when they were there, but the unfortunate thing, the public was not allowed to speak because it was a committee meeting, not a board meeting where the public was allowed to speak. So I'll say it again. I mentioned it last meeting. I would request that we get a letter, a formal letter out, and the mayor and the council supports it on having our legislation here on helping Monroe Township. Many things are going on in our community, and an example, the helmet awareness program that our police are doing for our residents. I think they need to step up a little bit and maybe have a few meetings with our residents, the children, the parents, on making the children aware. And I don't want to sound type to say, hey, we should take away their scooters and we should take away their skateboards and do all of that. Our mayor made a statement of a few months back where they give them a certificate for a pizza, a slice of pizza, and a drink to say, listen, here's a program that we're trying to help. We all heard about a resident in our community at 4 years old that we lost, to a tragedy that is just disheartening to all of us to even see, hear, or talk about. Very, very difficult to talk about losing any loved one in our community. And that 4-year-old is no longer here. And that leads me into another question. How many detention basins does the Township of Monroe or MTUD own that do not have fences around them?
Please.
I can check into that. I think most of our wet basins, I know you and I worked on a wet basin that you built, and I think that has a fence around it. So I believe most of the wet basins have fences around them. Certainly can double check on that.
Yeah, if you could, Alan, I'd appreciate that and get that information out, because even if it's a dry basin, I brought this up about the rec center being unfenced in a community of nothing but children in our building, and then going there during the rain and sending pictures to show how much water are in a dry basin during a rainfall. I think it's very important that we don't have another tragedy or any tragedy at all between the fishing, the ice skating, or just a child walking into a situation. Maybe we need to look at all our basins, make sure all our buildings and all our basins are fenced properly, not just wet basins. I think all basins. So if you can let us know that, I'd appreciate it. And I had a question in reference to open space. I know I requested the 2024 activity. I haven't received it yet, but hopefully I will get that soon on the amount that went into our account and from our taxes, and if we got reimbursements from the state for 405 spots with Gravel Hill. And also, I wanted to know if there's any parcels that we're planning on moving forward in 2024 for open space.
Right, so we continue, if I could, Council President, and I think I did send you that number just to be clear. It's about $1.3 million that comes in each year as part of our Open Space and Recreation Trust Fund that comes in each year. Our debt service is approximately $800,000, as I put in the email. Certainly we'll get you that back and forth on the open space. Something our open space committee certainly looks at. Obviously, we need to have a willing seller. Also, I would say that there are some targeted properties within the master plan that we're continuing to look at as well. But as properties come up, they'll either come through the Open Space and Farmland Preservation Committee, or they'll come before this council. And that's basically how it would move forward. But we did put together a targeted list associated with the master plan. We can't, as a practical matter, we can't acquire open space by condemnation. We have to have a property where somebody would be wanting to sell that property in order for us to really engage on that, unless there was a public need that was exigent.
Right, the two that we purchased, one being the Meadowview Nursing Home on Spotswood Gravel Hill, and the other one being on 405 Spotswood Gravel Hill. Could you give us an update on what's going on with those two parcels?
Sure. So in terms of, if I could, Council President, as you know, a couple things have happened in the area of open space, probably within the last 2 years, in a way that'll, I think, benefit the town and that we've communicated with the residents. First, in looking at Meadowview, our opportunity there was to purchase a property that will help us associated with the next round of affordable housing. And so the goal there, as I've mentioned previously at the meetings, is to make that part of a future round of affordable housing where you'd have senior affordable in it, and that will help us meet our affordable housing obligation. Obviously, everything we can do to build our own affordable housing prevents that 4-to-1 ratio that the state has generally implied on all 360 municipalities that are subject to the settlement. So that'll be part of our round 4 affordable housing. In terms of Garvey's, Mark can probably give you an update on the demolition related to that. But as you know, we got a $1 million grant from the county, which we should get shortly, and I believe we have a $200,000 or $300,000 grant from the state for that as well. So the majority of that is through grant funds as well. And as we put into the newspaper, we're moving forward on the acquisition of the Barnes property, which will be fully funded through state and county grants, and hopefully we'll be executing that shortly, which we're super excited about as well. That'll be a $2.5 million grant from the state, and a $1.8 million grant from, $2.5 million from $2.3 million from the state, and a $2 million grant from the county. So apologize if I didn't say that correctly.
So also, we've been talking about truck traffic and situations going on. I know in the past we talked about looking for DOT to do an approval on Applegarth Road, Cranberry, Union Valley, and Prospect Plains. I know the county signed off on it and they approved it. Are there any updates from NJDOT for making a weight limit on these, or local deliveries only? Are there anything in the works that's coming from NJDOT?
Sure, and this was something that was in the Monroe News, I think the issue beforehand. So a couple things are happening, and there's a full report linked online in terms of the Southern Middlesex freight study. A lot of really positive feedback from that. As you recall, and as we've spoken about before, one of the challenges with trying to get the weight restrictions on the east-west connectors, where people were coming, in that direction, was that they wanted a more further study. And so, what's great about the study that was done, the truck study that was done, is that it did make a recommendation in there, particularly on Cranberry Station Road, that one could move forward in a way where you wouldn't have to do any significant work to move that towards being weight restricted. The other two would require some additional capital projects on the east-west connectors, being Half Acre Road and Prospect Plains. So as a result of that, and I spoke with the county about it, they'll be implementing those programs. First and foremost, they'll be doing some of the different wayfinding efforts that you'll start to see going up in the coming year. Again, there's if you look at the report that was issued, and I think it was shared with you, there are different phases to this. So I'm going to talk about the near-term phase that was listed in the report. As you recall, there's different phases in the report. So wayfinding and working with the providers of GIS and mapping are some of the first things that are happening. We'll also be moving forward with our own report on weight limits related to Cranberry Station Road that we can send to the state, which will buttress the state report, and then we'll be able to have that backup. But there's several other interim items that are in there as well beyond wayfinding and that one thing, and be happy to go through it at a different time as well.
Thank you. If you could pass to our chief of police, if he can do truck stops on these roads and help with the weights and measures with the state police and also the county, it would probably be helpful, because a lot of these trucks that are driving through our town are unsafe, and they need to be checked with weight and also with the safety. So if you could check with our chief of police, I'd appreciate that, Alan. On the paving, I appreciate the report, Mark, but I had a question mainly to MTUD, our director Joe. It's very important that we get a video before the paving starts and also after the paving, to make sure that they don't pave over any of our valves and over our manholes, and that after the paving is done, that each one of our valves are functioning and there's no asphalt in catch basins or asphalt in the valve. So when you guys go out in the middle of the night on a water main break, you go and you find out that the valve is full of asphalt that was paved at previous time. So are we checking all of the paving prior, and then are we checking all the valves and to make sure all the manholes are still there without being paved around it? Is there somebody from MTUD doing that currently?
Council President, if I could. Oh, you want to get it, Joe?
Excellent question, Councilman, and we do that. We obviously mark out the assets before the paving project starts, and then we go back after the paving project is completed and check it. And in fact, the fire chief is actually our mark out expert, and he goes out there and personally does that. So we're very confident that we're working not only collectively with engineering and the contractor, but within MTUD to make sure that responsibility is upheld and taken care of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I had a question and a comment also about Mounts Mill, Old Bridge, Englishtown. I noticed that they're out there finally doing the electrical work for the traffic signal. And I noticed the fire hydrant got moved. That was in the way for the contractor. That just got moved as well. So it looks like hopefully the contractor can go out there and make it all the telephone poles were moved. Thank you to JCP now finally. But hopefully they can get that buttoned up where from curb to curb we can get at least stabilized base, where it's a little safer for our residents to travel. But are there any updates on Prospect Plains and Applegarth intersection?
President, I think Mark has one.
Yes, Council President. With regard to Applegarth and Prospect Plains, if you recall, the county project includes the intersection and then all of Prospect Plains to the municipal border. The township has acquired all the easements that were necessary to do that project, with the exception of the railroad. At the railroad crossing, the easements, there's been communications with Conrail, with the county and the state and the township, and the stumbling block there is really the railroad and getting that approved. So the county now has reached out to the DOT to amend the project to do it in 2 phases, to get the intersection completed up to the railroad tracks. And then once everything is resolved with the railroad, to get that easement, then put out the rest of the project to the municipal border as a phase 2. But it looks like it'll take many more months to get those easements through the railroad. So we're trying to accelerate the project because the intersection is the most important part of this project. So that's where it's at right now. It's at the state. They're reviewing that to make a determination to allow the county to move forward with phase 1.
Thank you, Mark. Avenue K and Garibaldi Avenue, we have a lock gate that a resident keeps calling me in reference to. They're getting some graffiti on their fence. They contacted the police. They did a police report. I know that we discussed it last week, that there was I believe, a pending lawsuit that was withdrawn, I believe, for use variance. And now that we own that right away, the town put the gate up. Are we going to keep that gate locked? Your mic's off.
I'd have to look into that. I know this is of concern to you in terms of access. Brought it up several times. I think we were successful in the zoning board, and I mean the zoning board was successful in defending itself, which will prevent the use. But I would really have to talk further with the utility director and the planning director to make sure I answer the question correctly.
Well, we did pay. It is our property, and we spent the money. The taxpayers spent the money. I just like to see the gate locked because there are residents going there that are vandalizing people's property, and they did do police reports. And I received a call on Tuesday about it as well from a few homeowners. I wanted to point out, as the liaison for the shade tree, I requested many times that we notify Middlesex County highway, roads, and bridges, and they need to maintain the dead branches that are over a lot of our township roads. Example, Prineville Road, Matchaponix. We have township roads such as Federal that have a lot of dead trees. So a resident called me that he was driving down Matchaponix, the tree fell down, and a dead tree limb damaged his truck. The road got closed during I guess during an operation where there was no wind or there was no storm, and the tree just fell. A branch fell and damaged his truck. So if we could reach out to Middlesex County and ask them to look at a lot of the dead trees, Prineville Road, if you drive up and down it, you could still see leaves on, and you'll see the dead branches. It's easy to pick them out now, but in another month or two, it might not be so easy, and we don't want our residents just driving by with a branch falling. So if we could reach out to the county on that, I'd appreciate it. As the chairman of the New Jersey Training School Citizens Review, along with Terry and Alan, our meeting is September 11th in this room at 6:30. It's open to the public, and if anybody would like to attend, I just wanted to point that out. It's on 9/11 at 6:30. And also on 9/11 at our tree park, it's at 8:30 a.m. I believe it's 8:30 a.m. start time, that we're going to be at the memorial and at the tree park on Prospect Plains. So I just wanted to mention that to the residents as well. And on 9/21/24, I'm on the green team as well at 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Green Fair is at the high school. I want our residents to know to come out and support, and also see all the vendors that are there, and also to help our community with the green team. I had a question. We talked about water towers. What's our plan for the water tower on 522?
Thanks. Joe, if you could explain that again to the councilman, the 522 water tower.
522 water tower.
We talked about raising it. We talked about
you could
doing different, painting it.
Just the same update.
Currently, there is a study underway, Councilman, to do some geotechnical work. Obviously, you know that if we do raise the tank up to facilitate additional storage that's required to operate the distribution system correctly, we have to make sure that the surrounding ground will be able to hold that additional weight. So once that's done, then we will proceed with the actual design of raising the tank and then painting it.
All right, I just also wanted to point out, we talked about a water tower possibly over by the State Home, possibly in the Pines development. There is a water tower on the state property right now. So I don't know if that's something that we could reach out when we have our meeting on 9/11. It's a question that I'm going to bring to them. There is a water tower there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Joe, or if you can get familiar with it and help educate us a little bit about it. We know they abandoned their sewer plant that they had, and they're still going on with that. But if you go look into the water tower that's there, and it's something that the town, we could benefit from, because they are talking about, they've been talking about the premises of leaving and closing. But if there's a water tower there and it's something that we could use, I just think that we need to look into.
That's an excellent question. We already have. We've done a hydraulic analysis to actually see whether or not that would benefit. We also did a little study on how old that water tower is and the cost it would take to refurbish it. Right now, economically, it really is not feasible for us to use. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to go back to 522 tank. We looked at about 5 or 6 areas throughout the township that would actually benefit us and where we could potentially put an additional tank, but none of them fit better than the existing location at 522.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Councilman Markel, fresh back.
Yes, fresh back from vacation, head first. I'm going to make this short. I just want to reiterate my congratulations to the Senior Center, which I'm part of the commission for. As you know, they do such a great job. And I want to just add that I'm a big baseball fan. So the baseball facility, I jumped in to make the motion because I want to be on record to make the motion to go forward with that facility. I think it's great for the kids. Anything we can do for the citizens in this town to improve the recreation or arts or anything is very important. I'd also like to say, just mention what happened in Georgia today in the schools. I just want to make sure that we know that the kids are safe in Monroe. We have to be well aware. Everybody seems to be separated until it happens to you. But it could happen anywhere. And we should all be aware, the police and the council and everybody. One other thing, I would just like to send out my condolences to the family that lost their 4-year-old child. I was very close to a family many years ago that lost a child, so I'm pretty well aware of. I don't know the feelings because I've never lost a child, but I'm well aware of the problems that they're going to go through, and I hope they do well with anything. As a town, we should all just recognize, as citizens of Monroe, that we have our condolences for them. That's really all I want to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Siegel, who's also just come home from being on vacation. That's a popular week.
Thank you, Council President. So I too, along with my fellow councilmen, offer my condolences to the family who lost their child this week with the drowning. Deepest condolences to that family. I did want to share, I wanted to welcome the Wine Locker, one of our new businesses in Monroe. Wish them all the best. We had a ribbon cutting ceremony for them. They're located in the Gables Shopping Center on Applegarth Road. And I want to send a huge thank you to all the department organizations or department teams in our township who participated in National Night Out. It was a wonderful night, great crowds, lots of great information. It was one of those summer nights that you want to bottle and save for one of those cold days in winter. And, you know, lots of great information was provided. And if you could throw a baseball, you could try to dunk a police officer or even the chief. So it was a great night. And I want to share, I'm on a distribution list for Sustainable New Jersey, and I recently got an email from them recognizing Joe Slomian, our recycling coordinator at DPW, being recognized as a sustainability hero by Sustainable New Jersey. And I want to just share a short piece of what was written in this article because it was really nice to open my email and see this. But for over 25 years, Joe Slomian has served the Township of Monroe as the Recycling and Clean Communities Coordinator and as a member of the Environmental Commission and Green Team Advisory Committee. Through his incredible drive and innovative spirit, Joe secured funding that helped him optimize Monroe Township's recycling and environmental stewardship initiatives. Monroe Township has consistently ranked as one of the top municipalities in the state in litter prevention and achieves an impressive 65% recycling rate due to Joe's efforts. So I just want to recognize and congratulate Joe, and what an honor that he's part of our DPW team. That's very nice.
No, will be recognized as the silver.
Yes.
We're getting the silver for sustainability. With silver from League of Municipalities, yet again, we have been recertified.
And just a couple other things I wanted to point out. I know summer months are over, but the township always has so many events, and I just want to highlight a couple that are coming up in September. I know Councilman DePiero mentioned about the 9/11 Remembrance ceremony, but we have Beatlemania coming up on September 15th at 4 p.m. at the high school. Tickets are on sale. And our vintage baseball game is coming up on September 21st at Dye Farm from 12 to 3:30. So mark your calendars for that. And I just wanted to, since I mentioned Councilwoman Schneider earlier, I know there's a Taste of Monroe event on September 19th, and we're starting to collect donations for the food pantry, which was always something that she was very passionate about, was insecurity around food and making sure people had food to eat. So please come join us. It's on September 19th at the Senior Center, and please donate if you're able to. So, and that concludes my report.
Council Vice President Benzor, please.
Thank you, Madam President. When you go last, most of the people have already brought up things that I had mentioned to talk about, but next to last, actually. Yeah, thank you. A couple of things. Last month, there were many, many good events around town, which are part of what makes Monroe the great town that it is. They had the Day Farm event at the Historic House. I wanted to point out Monroe Senior Softball League sponsored a Pitch for the Cure for prostate cancer, which was something that they've done over the past few years. I was I've been a little under the weather this month, so I didn't get to many of the activities, but the fact that they have these things and they're all good stuff for the town, I thought was great. I'm also the liaison to the Rec Advisory Committee, and I feel very happy and very blessed that we were able to get the practice facility for the baseball teams. I had a daughter who was a pitcher for the softball team and also played rec and travel, and I know what it's like to try and get out there. Just to get the practice facilities for the winter workouts is crazy. And then when you have the facility, the cost of renting it gets to be quite expensive. And a lot of times, the parents wind up chipping in on their own. So for the town to provide that, I think it's a great thing. And it'll be good because others, just besides baseball, could also use it. And I think it'll just be a wonderful thing. It doesn't mean that we're still not committed to addressing other things in town with recreational facilities, but this is something that, from what I understand, was pretty much long overdue. Just want to remind everyone the farmers market will be continuing through the end of the month, I understand, at the library, Thursdays 2:30 to 6:30. September the 9th, there's going to be a Department of Motor Vehicle Commission. It's going to have a mobile unit there, so if people need to get their license or registration renewed, you could do it there instead of having to travel somewhere. But you do need to make an appointment, so just don't show up, because then if you get turned down, I'm sure it'll be a little bit upsetting. We do have our annual 9/11 memorial, which I know is special for the mayor, and always try and make our best effort to attend that. It is hard to believe that it's now 23 years since 9/11, and it seems like yesterday when we were watching on TV when that happened. Some of these things just stick in your mind. A 4-year-old child, I have 2 kids of my own, so my kids are much older now, but I think anybody that's a parent can relate to that, and the dread and the fear and then the realization as to what occurred. So thoughts go out to that family. And in that same regard, what happened today down in Georgia with the shooting, it's just breaks my heart every time I see that. Probably the thing that got me most interested in politics. We go back to Columbine many, many years ago, and I remember that, but I didn't know anybody out there. And I mean, I looked at it, well, that's really bad. But then when they had the young children, the first graders in Connecticut that all got shot, that just totally blew me away, where they couldn't even identify the kids because it was so bad. And ever since then, I've been a pretty strong advocate. Sensible gun laws is what we need. Doesn't have to mean that if you're a hunter, you can't have a gun or you can't have anything, but universal background checks. We don't need machine guns. We don't need those type of weapons. We really don't need the bump stock either, although I understand it's been ruled legal. But we just need to do common sense things. And the other one I almost forgot is the red flag laws. When a family sees somebody and they know that the person's off a little bit, we all know what we're talking about, and they start talking crazy, let's protect it, protect them against themselves too. So those are all things that can be addressed, and I hope that maybe it will get addressed later in the year, the next legislative session. And lastly, I'm not going to talk long on it, but the Ukraine war continues. I hope we continue to give our support to the people of Ukraine who are really up against it lately. So having said all that stuff, fall season's here. Kids are back in school. Be careful with school buses and kids running around and everything. And let's hope we have a safe and a great school year coming up. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Oh, I can be taught. Before I turn this over to the mayor, we all know how we feel, each and every one of us, that little boy died, little child died. You're not supposed to bury your children. They're supposed to bury you. So we can all just hope and pray that we don't have any further incidents like that in our town and in other places as well. And we'd also like to add my voice to my colleagues who say, please come to 9/11 if you can. It is a lovely, lovely ceremony. There are parents there and wives and husbands who lost family then. So I think that the solidarity of people around you helps sometimes. So it would be good if your schedule allows you to get there, would be appreciated. Mr. Mayor, you came back from vacation a few weeks ago, so you're already back in school modes. Classes started at Rutgers.
It was a couple months ago.
A couple of months ago in your head. So please, give us your...
Madam Council President, thank you for providing me a little bit of time just to report. Did I hear correctly? 31 years vehicle? 31 years. Joe, was that your vehicle? Was it like the Flintstones? Were you using your feet to... So, we give proclamations for people. Can we give a proclamation to a vehicle for 31 years? Joking aside, just jumping in here, some events that I did attend over the last month. I did attend the Monroe Township Senior Softball Pitch for Cure event to raise money for prostate cancer awareness, detection, and treatment. On hand was Bob Randall from WFAN, as well as former Major League Baseball player Pete Harnish, as they threw out the first pitch for there was a home run derby and then an all-star game. As alluded to before, Councilwoman Siegel had mentioned about the National Night Out. Certainly proud to celebrate with all of our first responders, as well as our Fire District 1 had their 75th anniversary as well, which was a tremendous event for the community at large. I also want to thank all of those who attended the Mayor's Wellness Meditation event on the 28th. It was an amazing turnout. Not enough room in the room, so you're always successful when that's the case. I also just want to thank the council members for the support for the resolution, for the advocacy, for the the laws in regards to having our hands tied to builders' remedy, builders' fees, all of that stuff. This will be going to the League of Municipalities as well as our legislators as well. So I just wanted to follow up on that. And as for the baseball facility, I do know. I was president of that league 20-something years ago, and that was something that we talked about back then. So it took you a while. Thank you for your patience, but it'll certainly come to fruition for not only baseball but all of the sports that can take advantage of such a magnificent facility here in Monroe. I want to applaud the township employees who recently donated to the Arms Wide Open Childhood Cancer Foundation. On behalf of the Volpe family, for your information, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. I also want to just take this moment to extend my condolences to former Councilman Bob Tucker and his family for the loss of the beautiful matriarch of the family, Gloria. Bob has done a lot for this town, so please think of him during this time of despair. 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony was mentioned. On 9/14, we have a paper shredding at our recycling yard from 8 to 12. Taste of Monroe was mentioned. Here's one that wasn't. Green Fair, 9/21, 10 a.m. at our high school. And obviously, I do want to just welcome all the students back, all the teachers back. It's as well as cannot emphasize enough to please drive safe. When you see those buses, please slow down and please stop. If they bother you that much, leave earlier or leave later. Do not ride on their tail. Do not pass a bus. And I do want to just finish off, lastly, with having a heavy heart in regards to the news of the tragic drowning that occurred. Certainly as a parent, as a human, I can't imagine a greater pain. I did call the parents, and I did, on behalf of the entire township, the entire community, extend our deepest sympathies and condolences. I also took the opportunity to reach out to all of the first responders there for that very, very tragic event. You can train all you want, but until it happens, you don't know. A lot of the responders had little kids, and it was a very traumatic experience for them. I thank them for their unwavering dedication to their profession. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Madam Council President.
Good night. Excited. We're going to move to the public comment section. I'd like a motion to open the public comment section, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? No. All right, folks, anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward. The time limit of 5 minutes is still in force, and your name and address for our records.
Gary Bussman, 7 Monarch Road. This is just to reiterate 08202420 with regard to wording in the bond ordinance. I'm looking out for the township's interest by the wording. I don't want anyone to come back to the municipality to indicate that the bond, and because of the wording in the proposal, indicates that that is the full amount for the bond, at $4,995,000. I think it's beneficial for the municipality to protect its position and its rights, to make sure that the wording in that agreement is adequate. The words that appear now do not appear to be correct. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sir, your name and address, please, for our records.
Good evening and thank you. Joe Atanasio, 21 Wellington Place, Monroe Township in Greenbrier. Now that I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Whittingham Homeowners Association, it's my duty to come here with complaints that I've been getting from a few residents. The construction at the police precinct, albeit necessary, people have complained to me about the noise level at about 6:45 in the morning. I have not experienced this firsthand, but I just thought I'd bring it here to remind the construction company, if they would, to start at a much more reasonable hour, as I have been getting complaints. I will look at this myself in the next few days to make sure it's, these people are actually telling me factually what's going on. But thank you. If you would remind them, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Yes.
Council President, I'll look into that with the police station and their start time. The start time should be 7 a.m., not
Should be 7,
6:45.
not 6:45.
So I'll follow up.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
You're walking slowly. Name and address for our records, please.
George Gunkelman, 5 Kelly Court, Monroe. I'd like to ask a question about all the different tax relief programs we have from the state, that are mostly geared towards relief for seniors and others for property tax. What, if any, impact does that have on our finances? Is this money that comes from the state and we're totally, I was pretty sure that was the case, but I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, the money comes from the state. Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing? Yes, please. Again, your name and address for the record, please.
Chrissy Skirby, 21 Preakness Drive. I want to thank the council for approving the baseball facility as a baseball family here in Monroe for the last probably 18 years. It's a great addition to there, and I appreciate the efforts of the council in increasing our rec services throughout the town. One thing I just wanted to bring to the council's attention and ask possibly for maybe a change going forward. I recently had some work done in my house, and we went through the permit process through the construction office, during which time every so often we had to have an inspection. The construction department would contact my husband or myself and set up an appointment for somebody to come out and do the inspection. It worked out fine. I always knew when they were coming, when they were expected, who I was expecting. This week I had my doorbell ring, and it was somebody from the tax assessor's office, unannounced. I did not really know if they were from the town or not. I was very uncomfortable. I didn't think that it was really a proper way to do things. I reached out to Mr. Weinberg. We had a conversation. He had the woman who heads up the tax assessor's office, maybe the tax assessor herself. She called me and she explained that at the tax assessor's office, they don't call the residents ahead of time to schedule because they don't have the phone numbers. I found that really hard to believe that in our town, while the construction department has the phone numbers and contact information for those who put in the permits, the tax assessor's office wouldn't be able to contact a resident. It just made me feel very uncomfortable having somebody unannounced show up at my door and tell me they were from the town and want to come in. It's not something that I think our residents should have. I think that if the town is coming out to want to come in, they should call ahead to the residents, because there's so much going on in this world and you don't know who is properly coming to your home for something and who's not. There's so many scams and scandals. We have so many residents in the adult community. It just really would be safer if we could call and make appointments so our residents know. And just to comment on the truck traffic on, I think it was Applegarth and Prospect Plains, we seem to do a lot of talk about that area. That is a highly traveled county road The speed limit used to be 50. It might be 50 in the area, 45 miles an hour. If we're doing studies there on the trucks, I would really encourage that we also do the studies of trucks going in residential areas. I know that residents came here last month and talked about trucks in residential areas where they want to build a warehouse. They were told that this wasn't the proper forum. They should go to planning. I know they're planning on doing that. But if we're looking at the truck traffic on that road and saying that we need to mitigate that for the residents, we shouldn't be having tractor trailers and trucks going through residential areas where the roads aren't wide enough, where there's a large amount of children waiting on bus stops. Having tractor trailers go through residential community really should not be something that this town is looking for. I know the application is before the planning board, but I would ask that the council, when looking into truck traffic on that road, is looking at the truck traffic in residential communities as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public comment section, please? May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Yes.
That's done. I just have a comment.
I'll go right ahead.
Well, close the.
I'll close my little, and then you go ahead before we go to adjournment. Okay? We are closing the public portion. We had a motion to close.
All in
We
favor?
have a motion on it. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, no opposition. Mr. Mayor?
Just
yeah.
want to get it out there that, as was mentioned earlier, we did the county did a southern Middlesex freight study, so it's looking at the entire, not just the Applegarth corridor,
Right.
but everyone else. Other towns were brought in as well, so just wanted to get it's a larger picture to be we're cognizant of. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Thank you for that clarification. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
May I have a second on that? Roll call? Taking a roll call on adjournment?
Councilman DePiero. Councilman Markel. Councilwoman Siegel. Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes, this meeting is adjourned at
8:19 p.m.
8:19. Thank you all.